You know about it. Well, I wanted to, we don't have a ton of time to spend on this, but I wanted to duck out by something, by dropping something on you guys that came across my desk this week. This is from, did you want to name your segment, Nate? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Is it just April?
April, chapter 3.
Yeah.
April
Vrillin.
Redux. Nice. So this is something that I came across on Mysterious Universe. Y'all know about Mysterious Universe?
I do.
Yeah.
We use them as a source for some of our writings.
They do great shit. We're about to do it again. They're an incredible podcast. Maybe the premier podcast in the world for information about
universe,
about
paranormal,
the paranormal
information, not paranormal preparedness.
No. Good God, they wouldn't know what to do. Leprechaun attack. Are you kidding me? But they had an article in January. Boy, I'm already fucking up. January of 2018. They published an article called Mysterious Encounters with Supposedly Extinct Ice Age Monsters. And this is popping off again on Reddit. And I thought it would be a great time to revisit this, even though it has nothing to do with apes or the Vril. But this is about encounters with woolly mammoths up to about the 1800s.
Interesting. Life finds a way, Jordan. This is what I've been saying.
Exactly.
It's the first time I've ever heard that.
I know. I coined the term.
Sure. An early possible encounter with either woolly mammoths or similar North American mastodon was reported by the English explorer David Ingram, who ventured out into the wilds of North America in the 1560s. During his travels, he took detailed notes on the regional flora and fauna, as well as the topography and customs of native peoples he encountered. These notes are mostly very accurate and even mundane by today's standards, but one account stands out. The explorer wrote of how he had seen hairy elephants roaming about, which is remarkable considering that there were no such indigenous animals at the time.
Well, right away, and I don't want to call him a liar, but maybe it was just two bison on each other's shoulders.
Right. I don't want to call him a liar, but maybe he was lying.
Bison making the beast with two backs.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
you know. No, but that's weird because this man, I do know who you're talking about, and he was generally credible, and he knew what an elephant was. He knew.
Another very early account comes from the 1580s when he ate. Back then they ate nothing but elephant. When a Russian family, this is in the 1580s, called the Stroganovs, supposedly sent mercenaries led by Yermak Timofeyevich to hunt down some bandits in Serbia. When they passed the Ural Mountains, Yermak claimed that they had come across what he said was a large, hairy elephant lumbering through the wilds. Natives of the area then confirmed that these creatures, although rare, were very real indeed, and were sometimes hunted for their ivory and delicious meat.
Yeah, I don't have a clever little thought to disprove that one.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that was the remarkable part of the trip, given the number of wraiths and vampire he must have seen going to find those two
It's
guys.
a different culture, you know? Like, they're used to the wraiths, they're used to the rakes, but that hairy elephant?
Today I saw a strange elephant in the place where we usually see the Baba Yaga counting her bone spoons. In the early 1800s, there were several reports of supposed surviving mammoths. In 1807, there was a report from explorer David Thompson. Any David Thompson heads in the house?
No.
Yeah, tiddly.
Who told of hearing from the natives of enormous elephant-like creatures stomping about the wilds of British Columbia, Canada. The natives said that the immense hairy creatures were rarely seen and that they slept while leaning against trees.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Thompson would then find strange elephant-like tracks in 1811, which he believed had been made by a young mammoth. And in the end, Thompson would say of it all, the circumstantial evidence of the existence of this animal is sufficient. But notwithstanding the many months the hunters have traversed this extent of country in all directions, and this animal having never been seen, there is no, sorry, counting elephants making me sleepy. There is no direct evidence of its existence. Yet when I think of all I've seen and heard, if I put on my oath, I could neither assert nor deny its existence. If I had to, gun to my head, I'd say maybe. Anyway. There was also made a count in the Edinburgh magazine, supposedly made in 1803 in Western Canada, near a place called York Fort. The witness, one Thomas Pollock, claimed to have been a sergeant with the Hudson Bay Company. Y'all know about the Hudson Bay Company?
I know about their many crimes.
I assume you could buy fish from them.
They committed many crimes, and maybe nowadays it sounds like something you would get like summer sausage from at Christmas, you know?
Yeah.
Blood sausage, if you will.
Yeah.
Hudson Bay Company at the time, and that he and his guide had come across quite the curious beast while venturing out to make contact with native tribes. Pollock would say of what happened thusly. We left York Fort on the 19th of May, 1803. About a fortnight after, having been sent across the river, the name of which I do not now recollect, by Mr. Louise's orders, the guide and myself suddenly came upon an animal of enormous size. It appeared about 20 feet in height and had a very heavy and unwieldy appearance. I can give but a very lame account of it on account the consternation into which I was thrown. The largeness of its belly was enormous, nearly touching the ground. Its color was dirty black. So that could
be feet tall.
That could be fucking literally anything. But 20 feet tall is fucking megafauna, you know?
It's a megafauna, and mammoths, although I think they're just like 12 feet tall, but like I think a big one, like age, strong as hell.
Yeah, listen.
You could get up there. There's
anything 20 feet tall, stomping about the wilds of Canada, I think you got something worth writing home about.
That's fair,
yeah.
You do.
Yeah. Years later, in 1818, there was another account from the Rocky Mountains in the United States. Shout out. The witness said that there were what seemed to be woolly mammoths wandering about the region, and would say of these mysterious creatures, the fact of its existence rests upon the testimony of two different parties who had been sent some errand into the interior valleys of those mountains. The first party came suddenly upon the animal in a deep and formerly unvisited recess, and was so alarmed at its prodigious size, exceeding that of the largest elephant, and at its unknown aspect, that they immediately retreated in great consternation to the encampment from which they had been dispatched. Another party was sent to the exact same spot to ascertain the fact, and though the animal was not observed, its footsteps could be distinctly traced, and each compartment in its hoof is stated to have admitted both the feet of the travelers. It ought to be observed that these parties were perfectly familiar with the appearance of the buffalo, which indeed they were in the daily habit of killing. Fucking daily, huh? Y'all are going through a buffalo a day, dude.
Oh, they're going through 10. You gotta see who can get to 10 first.
Can you kill some buffalo? We gotta start this fire. What? And the animal which they saw, therefore, cannot be regarded as an individual of that tribe. It was seen, too, as I have already stated, in a very remote and central valley, and the intervals between its paces are described having been of astonishing magnitude. Man, this guy's old-timey. I love it. Magnitude. Oh, yeah. Great old-timey guy word. Now, we all know well that the animals of immense size have inhabited the northern parts of our earth in former times, and the huge remains which are every day dug up are more likely to have belonged to individuals of such an animal that now alluded to than to any extinct species of a former world.
All right. Well, I mean, it sounds like that's evidence of that. If it's not mammoths, giant ass, weird con things.
Fucking something or other, right?
Oh yeah, that is something that is not a bison. Like you said, they're killing so many of them. I don't know how to explain it other than I guess for a short time, maybe even still, there's some woolly mammoths.
Now, none of these have really outlined a woolly mammoth, so to speak. Did you guys see the incredible...
A hairy elephant? I mean...
Well, okay, fair. Did you guys see that video of the woolly mammoth supposedly crossing the river in Russia?
No,
I don't recall that one.
It's really incredible. It really, really looks like exactly what that is. We got time. Go ahead and look that up on your own time. Maybe we'll link it on the page, but we got time for maybe one more of these. I wanted to impart to you the tale of one Colonel F. Fowler, who in the late 1800s resided in Alaska. When talking to a reporter, he related a tale about something he had seen out in the wilderness near the Snake River while traveling to an Inuit trading outpost. Y'all want to hear about that?
Yeah,
I do.
Great. Once at the outpost, he claimed that he had purchased a load of what he thought was fossilized mammoth ivory from Chief Tolitima. And upon inspecting the tusks, Fowler claims that he found fresh traces of blood and flesh upon them. When he asked the chief about it, Tolitima explained that the ivory had come from the animals that had been killed just 3 months before, just about 50 miles away from where they were. According to the chief, the hunting party had run into a whole herd of mammoths and had managed to take down 2 of them. Fowler would explain the strange incident thus. This guy sounds like maybe a frontiersman type. He and his band were searching along the dry watercourse for ivory that had found a considerable quantity. One of the party who was in advance rushed in upon the main body one morning with the startling intelligence that a spring of water about a mile above where they were, he had discovered sign of several of what they called the big teeth.
Ooh.
They had come to the spring to drink from a lofty plateau, by cracky, further inland, and had evidently fed in the vicinity of the water for some time. The chief immediately called him about his warriors, and the party, under the leadership of the scout, approached the stream. They had nearly reached it when their ears were suddenly saluted by a chorus of loud, shrill, trumpet-like calls, and an enormous creature came crashing toward them through the thicket, the ground fairly trembling beneath its ponderous footfalls. With the wild cries of terror and dismay, the Indians fled, all but the chief and the scout who had first discovered the trail of the monsters. They were armed with large caliber muskets and stood their ground, opening fire on the mammoth. A bullet must have penetrated the creature's brains, for it staggered backward and fell dead. Subsequently, on their way back to the campground, they overhauled and killed a cow, Big Teeth, which was evidently the mate of the first one killed. I asked the hunter to describe the monster, and taking a sharp stick, he drew me a picture of the pale animal in the soft clay. According to his description, it was at least 20 feet high and 30 feet in length. In general shape, it was not unlike an elephant, but its ears were smaller, its eyes were bigger, and its trunks longer and more slender. Sounds like just a shitty drawing of an elephant. Its tusks were yellowish white in color. How did he tell you that with a sharp stick? Anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm also wondering about the, he says it's 20 feet tall and at least 30 feet long. Is he just like writing numbers next to it? Is he doing it like life size?
Check this out. Its tusks were yellowish white in color. Sorry. And 6 in number. 6! 4 of these tusks were placed like those of a boar, one on either side of the jaw. They were about 4 feet long and came to a sharp point. The other 2 tusks he brought away, I measured them. They were over 15 feet in length and weighed upward of 250 pounds each. They gradually tapered to a sharp point curved inward. The monster's body was covered with long, coarse hair of a reddish dun color.
Well, this sounds like either they made something and managed to pass it off for some cash on this guy, or they fucking killed a monster.
This sounds to me like
maybe.
This sounds to me like they were killing mammoths up until at least the 1800s. And if we were to read on, we would find that this extends into the 1900s.
I looked it up. There's people in Russia today that think that they're in Russia.
Right. How many of them have 6 tusks and 2 of them are 15 feet long?
Yeah. It's wild. So, if you haven't been, keep your eyes peeled. If you see a mammoth, hit us up. We want to break the news to the people.
I mean, that would be fun. I would love to break some mammoth news.
And of course, we'll give you some of that sweet, sweet mammoth loot, which inevitably will come our way. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Werewolf Radar. I hope you're doing all right out there. I hope you're hydrating. I hope you're getting your COVID shots and mutating into a creature that can withstand the future.
Yep. There's a revolution coming. We must all become mutants, COVID mutants, and take over the world for the new order.
The vaccine rebellion.
The vaccine rebellion.
These are all hot button words. This is all news to me, but I'm going to talk to these guys about that and make sure it's as terrifying as it all sounds before I endorse it. Until next time, though, thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Chuck from Snappy Little Numbers for our intro and outro song. And thank you for going to iTunes and rating us. And thank you for telling your friends about the show. And thank you for keeping your eyes peeled for those darn mammoths. And until next time, as always, punch
the sky, spaceman.